Well, hello there. Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day, and a fantastic afternoon, and a fantastic night. I am live today. Uh, there's something very, very important that I have to say from the very beginning, of the very, very start here. I was on time today.
Wait, you're about to you didn't send me the link, dude.
Thaddius knows. Thaddius is a witness. Thaddius is my witness that I was on time. I was on time. I was right here. I sat down and I was waiting. David Wood did not show up for 5 minutes until I realized that I sent the link to the wrong email address, which is why he didn't show up.
Isn't that amazing? You had one chance in your entire life to be on time, and then you screwed it up. You still screwed it. You found a way. You're like, you like made it your New Year's resolution that April Fool's Day would be the day that you actually do the opposite of what you normally do and show up on time. And then you still found a way to delay the show for 13 minutes.
Unfortunately, that's what happens. That's what we do. That's what they do.
What we do.
But then finally David arrived, and then he started talking about some irrelevant stuff for like 5 minutes straight, and I'm waiting, sitting like, are we finally going to? Anyway, long story short, it's not the time to complain. I don't want to complain anymore. We are here and we are ready to start our show today. This is a very professional show. I am your host, Apostate Prophet, which is my birth name. To my side, I have here the Dizzle Son, which is his birth name. And we also have a guest that I haven't had here before, who goes by the name of Thaddius, which I'm pretty sure is not his real name, because who in the world is named Thaddius?
I know.
Yeah. Thaddius, what's up? How are you doing?
Hello. Thank you for having me on today.
Good. Is Thaddius your real name?
It is indeed my real name.
That's like the name, that's a name like Mortimer or something like that. Hey, look, we've got Thaddius, Mortimer, and Rippleton.
Yeah, you know that, or one of the 12 apostles. Your choice.
Yeah, one of those.
I would be called Herbert in this case. So today we want to talk about interesting stuff. Oh yeah, some people are saying that I have a bookshelf behind me now. I am trying to be cool, but then I realized that. So first off, I didn't actually mean to have a bookshelf for my background. I got a different bookshelf, but then I realized I have more books than I actually thought I do. So I thought I have only very few books, so it's not going to be that big. So I apparently have more books than I do. So I ordered a new bookshelf, which I'm going to set up. Going to spend some time setting that up. So I will finally have a bookshelf behind me where I will also display things, so I can be a weirdo just like David Wood here. So yeah, David, what's up, man? How you doing?
It is just interesting that everyone who is a Christian YouTuber has to have a bookshelf, and then everyone's wondering, okay, AP's going to church now. AP's going to church. When is he going to is he going to get the bookshelf? He's going to get the bookshelf, and then it's like, oh, now he's posting he believes in God. Like, where is the bookshelf coming? Is the bookshelf coming? And then, like, is it going to be like super epic, awesome bookshelf like D Wood has? But no, he kind of like is growing into and phasing into the bookshelf life, like he is growing into and phasing into the Christian life. So, yep, baby steps, ladies and gentlemen. He'll have this little shelf, and then like 6 months from now, he'll be awesome, committed Christian. You'll see a bigger shelf, and then eventually, once he's gone through his Kate Schumann phase and is done whatever comes after that, then you'll see glorious, massive bookshelves like a cathedral to knowledge.
I have seen people say that they don't believe that I go to church because I don't have a bookshelf behind me. I also didn't announce that I'm a Christian yet because I am waiting for a bigger bookshelf, which is when I will announce that I'm a Christian, because I thought that if I don't have a bookshelf behind me, it might be kind of an embarrassment to Christianity. So I should just not do it.
People are going to think you're fake, man. People are going to think you're fake.
Yeah. Or if they think that I am actually a Christian and I don't have a bookshelf behind me, then they'll think this is Christianity. What? I don't want that.
Yeah. What is this? What is this anti-knowledge religion?
Yeah. Jack Ray, what's up? Jack Ray says AP and RA, the latest of believers. All ham do we love. What do you mean latest of believers? What do you mean believers, man? Who is RA? Reasoned answers? How is he the latest of believers? Doesn't
I
even
guess
make.
because we start our streams late.
You're late.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Jack Ray Shaitan, the fat guy who doesn't get out much. Nice. That's good. The White Trash Man. What's up, White Trash Man? Oh, I forgot. I get a free super chat. Probably going to have to switch my membership to another account. YouTube hates this one. I say naughty words. Hey, don't say naughty words. If you say naughty words here, then you'll get banned. So
They do. Just so everyone knows, the algorithm does apparently. The algorithm follows all your comments that you post and puts you in a troublemaker category and stuff like that. And then they're significantly more likely to block your comments and so on like that. I've seen that just because I would use a word and a comment would be blocked for it. But then I see other people using the exact same word over and over and over again. And so, yep, the algorithm, you are a unique thing. It is monitoring what you post. So be aware of that.
yeah, it is an ancient saying as well that the algorithm favors the those who don't say inappropriate things. So anyway, let's see who else. Jack Ray again says recent answers is David Wood's fault. Haha, you see, David Winger. Oh, Wood. Yeah.
DW.
Sarah F, you see, Christian P isn't late anymore. Yeah, this is true.
That would be. Hey, by the way, side note, that would be funny if like, if after you start going to church suddenly you're always on time. Wouldn't that be funny? And it's like you've fully escaped your Muslim and atheist background by being on time.
It is kind of a funny thing to wake up early in the morning and go to church. I never thought I would do that. Anyway.
Yeah, because your Turkish Muslim background would make you not on time because Turks are horribly lazy and sit around all day doing nothing. And then your atheist background, it's like, well, who cares? It's all meaningless and pointless. So what's the point of showing up on time? What's the point of anything? 15 minutes late. I should go ahead and start anyway, even though it's all pointless and we're all just going to die and it's all going to be meaningless. And so
Turks are horrible people.
Yeah, no, that's true.
We shouldn't be saying such things, man. On a live stream where we are talking with Thaddius and defending him.
Yeah, because we know Deny King is watching this right now, and like all of care and stuff like this. We will find them. What? Look what they said about Turks. They said all Turks. Columbus Dispatch declares Islamophobes say mean things about Turks. Where can they be fired?
So this is the funny thing. The conversation today is basically about Thaddius here being fired from his workplace because he is apparently anti-Muslim or Islamophobic. And the first thing when I first heard that, I had to laugh very, 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 very loudly, and I couldn't even believe this because it's like seriously, somebody goes after someone who is offensive, who is Islamophobic, who is anti-Muslim, and the person that they go after is Thaddius. Thaddius is like the Abdullah Samir of Christian apologists. It's like, why would you go after this guy? It's like the most innocent person in the world. Like if this guy had a gun, I would still laugh. You know, it's like, why would you go after this guy?
He's like an out of time hippie, right? You know what I mean? Like, like someone transported someone from the 1970s. Like, hey man, want a flower? Hey, Islam bothers me because these guys are talking about child marriage, man. It's like this guy has to be destroyed. It's like what? There were other people I would at least get it, but yeah. So anyway,
his name is Thaddius. Like they look up Thaddius and they're like, oh yeah, this is who we're gonna go after. Are you kidding me, man? Like just the name alone should make them think, okay, I'm not gonna complain about this guy. This sounds kind of ridiculous. But they did end up going after Thaddius. It's like what?
And by the way, that should have been the reaction of everyone who read that article. It should have been like, Islamophobe is doing horrible things and saying things. And Thaddeus, come on, a guy named Thaddeus. Seriously, that's your Islamophobe of the year. A guy named Thaddeus. Come on, guys.
Yeah, Thaddeus, do you want to briefly explain yourself here?
Yeah, well, after all those very highly positive things you just said about me, I would have to say that it is true. I am a nice guy. Certainly people like you guys are much more aggressive in the way you talk about these issues.
You're a guest here. That's a pretty rude thing to say, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I know. Shame on me. Shame on me. See, this is just
He's
my
trying, he's trying to
unacceptable
he's
behavior
trying to
coming
send
out.
care after us.
Anyway, certainly there are people who are more aggressive, but I studied Islam and came to realize that it is not all peace and love. It is not just another false religion out there. It is, in fact, a system of pure evil. And as such, I need to oppose it. And that's what I do.
Nice.
Did you hear that, everyone? All I heard was slaughter all Muslims in the name of Jesus. That's all I heard right there when he was talking.
Islam is horrible. All Muslims are evil. Calm down, man. It's kind of messed up.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of messed up.
Columbus Dispatch, Thaddius live with Islamophobes who say all Muslims should be slaughtered. Crack, great reporting, Deny King. Yeah, you're really awesome. I don't know. You definitely deserve the Pulitzer for this great work you're doing.
So I want to have a look here at the first article that I saw, and I'm wondering if this is actually the first article in this matter. So here is, I didn't even share my screen, of course. That's fantastic. Very, very professional. This is yeah, look at my screen.
Look, it says stay away from Islam. This channel is literally genocide.
So community shelter board. I don't know if this is the first article that came out on their behalf, but this is the Columbus Dispatch, which says here, community shelter board employee under investigation for anti-Islam YouTube channel. And it is the article is written on the Columbus Dispatch by Deny
the King, because she's very anti-Christian.
Okay. That's pretty.
Hey, if you want something fun, click on her name and look at her description. It's pretty funny. I don't know if you want to do that now or read the article, but oh yeah, look at this. I'll read it. Deny King, she, her, covers various underserved communities in the Columbus Dispatch in Ohio. At the Columbus Dispatch in Ohio, she previously covered religion and immigration for 6 years and dug deep into the scandal of priest sexual abuse of minors in the Roman Catholic Diocese of Columbus, as well as several other faith and immigration topics. King reports on veterans, disabled people, LGBTQ issues, and more. She has won several awards for her work at the Dispatch and is passionate about holding powerful people and institutions accountable and telling people's stories. Before she came to the Dispatch in 2016, King reported at 2 small Northwestern Ohio newspapers covering business, education, health. Anyway, the important takeaway there is that she's happy to expose the scandals of the Catholic Church. And that's good. It's good to expose evil things that are going on. You have to dig deep and expose these things. Unless it's Islam, and then you have to keep your mouth shut or you're an Islamophobe. Because if you look into Islam and you bring up, hey, Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl, and this is a problem because people take that seriously, and there are people like Daniel Hakikachu and others who are defending child marriage and so on today, and there are people calling for jihad and so on based on what Muhammad and the Quran say. If you bring up any of these issues, you're an Islamophobe. So blast away at the Catholic Church, blast away at Christianity, blast away at any of those things. If a Muslim is screaming Allahu Akbar or messing around with a kid, anything, no, shh. Even if it's Muhammad himself, keep your mouth shut, or you will get fired. And she will start some smear campaign against you and get CARE to enlist CARE to get you fired. But this is just like, I mean, it's like she's out of time too. So Thaddius is like a hippie from the 70s, and she's like a reporter from 15 years ago when they were like this blatantly hypocritical. In anything someone over here does, we go after. Anyone in the Muslim community is beyond criticism. It's like,
so
I thought things were changing.
Dana King is an underserved communities reporter. And as part of her job as the underserved communities reporter, Dana King, she, her, what she does is to serve those that are seen as underserved and to go against those that are deemed offensive to those who are deemed underserved, I guess. I guess what's happening here in this case is that she would report on Muslims, for example, not on bad things that Muslims do. No, that's of course we don't do that, but only if somebody offends Muslims, for example, then she's like, oh, that's where I jump in. That's where I jump in and report it, because we should not do something like that. And here she actually came to the conclusion that this guy, Thaddius, who is from a different time, should be fired from his job because he is offensive to the poor Muslims. The poor Muslims who only want to live and coexist with us. Why can't we just tolerate them and just say, yes, you're right to anything they say? That's apparently her job here.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
She's doing a bang up job.
Can we just
Care
shout the
said so
board
as
employee?
well. Care gave her some high praise at a recent event that they're holding.
I bet.
They brought in a bunch of interns, and they were telling them about the power of media, and she spoke there, and they said, Danae has been doing some great work getting our story out there for us.
So the Muslim Brotherhood, Care has been working with her and praising her to no end, you say, and they were also on top of this whole thing. They were the ones who interfered and also wanted you fired, right?
Yes, that's correct. Somehow,
The Muslim Brotherhood themselves came after you directly to have you. Sorry, I'm sorry, I keep misspeaking. The Care themselves came
it's
after
Muslim
you.
Brotherhood. Get it? I mean, it's the Council on American Islamic Relations.
So Care themselves came after you to have you fired.
That is correct. They did.
Let's put into perspective one thing, which is, Thaddius, can you explain to us very briefly what the nature is of the work that you are doing and what the nature of your workplace specifically is?
Probably going around assassinating Muslims.
Yeah, definitely. That is what CSP is all about. No, so CSP administers the homeless system of Franklin County, Ohio. They are a governing agency. They provide long-term strategic vision. They determine how funding is distributed, but they don't provide any direct client services. So a homeless person has no contact with CSP. My job at CSP was as a data analyst. So because we have many funders, I would prepare reports. Everyone wants their own report. They want to know what's going on. They want justification for the money that they're donating, and so forth. So many reports needed to be prepared. I would prepare those, or would check them depending on the nature of the report. As a shared role, one of us would check it, one of us would prepare it, the other would check it. We don't collect religious affiliation information, and I'm only working with aggregate numbers. So I'm not exactly sure how I could even theoretically discriminate against anyone based on their religion.
So you are working as you were working as a data analyst and so on for an organization that basically is involved in helping homeless people. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Hang on, and I need some clarification too. So this is a charity?
Yes. CSP,
and you
Community Shelter Board.
So just to be clear, you are the hippiest person on the planet performing the nerdiest task I can think of for a charity. And the Columbus Dispatch and Care say, this guy's career needs to be destroyed. We cannot have this guy, this hippie out of the 1970s, crunching numbers.
Yes.
For a charity.
Yes.
So let's get this straight. Let's get this straight. Right. One. So
AP's point is that just saying it sounds insane. Like, how did a reporter say, this is my priority for the next 6 weeks?
You are an individual who provides essential work and essential service to an organization whose entire purpose it is to help those in need.
Yes, that is correct. It's a social service organization. If you want to say political affiliation, it'd be associated with left wing.
Hold on. And while that is so, you are somebody who actually helps an organization whose entire purpose it is to help those in need, and somebody in the media decides that it's a good idea. Somebody who apparently reports for underserved communities, right, for the marginalized, for the disenfranchised, thinks it's a fantastic idea to come after you, after the guy who provides services for an organization whose entire purpose it is to help those in need, and wants you fired and wants to interfere in the work of the organization that helps those in need.
Yeah, exactly. You could say that CSB serves an underserved community. And Danae, of course, since she's an underserved community reporter, says that organizations that serve underserved people, they need to be hurt in any way possible, because then there'll be more underserved people that she can serve. I think that's what I'm getting
Wow, that makes sense. This is so ridiculous, man. Do people realize how ridiculous this is and how stupid and how ironic this is? All
It
jokes
sounds pretty
aside,
stupid.
it's incredibly ridiculously stupid.
Well, to be fair, they did have a pretty powerful case against Thaddius. As far as I saw, because I read one of the articles. And this was this was after he'd been terminated by the Terminator, Deny King. And it was the two pieces of evidence, Exhibit A and Exhibit B, in this destroying this man's life. Exhibit A was that he said, in response to Ali Dawah, Ali Dawah said that Christians who support Israel are crackhead clown individuals, and then he said it back to Ali Dawah, and his friend said something, you guys are crackhead clown individuals, and so on. And then the Columbus Dispatch, initially, I think they changed it eventually, because I saw Thaddius's video on this, but they just say he calls Muslims crackhead clown individuals, not, oh, he responded to some people and so on. Anyway, I don't know if they eventually, I don't recall if they eventually corrected that or whatever. And then the other thing was he had Robert Spencer on a live stream where they were apparently discussing whether Muhammad existed, but just having a discussion with Robert Spencer. And so he said something back. The actual evidence against him is he said something back to a Muslim who was saying it about Christians. But the Columbus Dispatch said, this is what he says about Muslims. And the other thing was he had a discussion with Robert Spencer, who's written dozens of books on various topics because he is a phenomenal researcher. And that was it. That was enough to get Thaddius fired.
Yeah, those are definitely the two main charges against me. They do pull in a couple other very minor things. But in a video where I was reacting to a number of YouTube shorts, at the end, I summarized it as a bunch of crackhead clown individuals. I played the clip of Ali Dawah, actually him saying it, right? But then, I mean, I am saying it, right?
I actually have it right here. You're trying to make it pass like something very, very innocent, but
good, because I haven't seen it, so I don't know how innocent this was. I have basically Care and Deny King and the Columbus Dispatch saying this is the worst thing in the world. He said this horrible thing, and then Thaddius going, "What? It wasn't really that bad. I was just saying it to these guys." So we don't actually know. Now we get to find out.
Yeah. Now it'll be revealed how horrible I am.
Let's see. So here we have a video where Thaddius actually goes live for over 4 hours and reviews a bunch of articles.
Goes live for 4 hours, man.
Reviews a bunch of videos in 4 hours, which is just a ridiculous amount of time to be live.
Yeah, no one's gonna watch a long, stupid live stream like that. No one could.
By Muslim apologists, including many of these Muslim apologists are actually people who have horrendous, horrific, messed up beliefs, like that apostates should be executed, that blasphemers should be executed.
And specifically, what we're talking specifically about Ali Dawah, he surely doesn't have any weird views. Like
Oh yeah, Al-Dawa who thinks that I personally, me, and all other ex-Muslims who leave Islam and who spread
Whoa,
this
whoa, 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 dude!
should
You
be
can't you
executed.
can't generalize like that. You can't say you. I mean, has he ever said something like that specifically to you?
Yes.
Of course not. Oh, wait,
Yes.
he did.
Yes.
Oh, so he said specifically to you because
Yeah.
you're an apostate, you should die.
Yeah. Specifically, me and all other apostates should be executed. He said, in an ideal system. That's what he said.
Oh, okay. No wonder that's
In fact,
no
actually, you know
wonder that story is on the front page of the Columbus Dispatch. Oh, wait, it's not. In fact, if I worked at Subway or something like that, and I said I have a problem with Ali Dawa for calling for the death of apostates, I'd get the CARE and the Columbus Dispatch would get me fired for it. How dare you object to that?
How dare you? In fact, let's look at that. Let's look at that first. I think that is a very, very interesting thing to look at, right?
This isn't part of our religion. This isn't part of our religion. There's a reason to it. Yeah? There's a reason why there's a capital punishment. Because people like you, little weaklings who leave their religion and cause corruption in the land by spreading it, the capital punishment in Islamic law would be applied to you. We have no doubt. And we're proud of that. Yeah? Capital punish will be applied in an Islamic state. Yeah? Not individuals going and doing it themselves like idiots. No, under an emir, it is done. Yes, and we, you know what, we'll be watching.
So this Ali Dawa, who here in this case is actually reacting to me specifically. So when he says, people like you, little weaklings who leave their religion and spread and cause corruption in the land by spreading it, he's actually directly referring to me and all other former Muslims who go out and leave Islam and spread corruption in the land by spreading it. So he says that people like me, we should be in an Islamic system, in an Islamic country, executed, and that Muslims like himself would be watching. In fact, within the context of this actual video, just prior to this, he actually points out that Muslims are together in this and unanimous in this, that all Muslims are the same and they all believe this, and so on. That's actually what he says. So Muslims in general believe that people like me and people who leave Islam should be executed, and they would be proud of that. This is the guy whose words you used and which then caused great offense to deny king.
One second. Just to be clear. So he's got, so he's working towards an Islamic state where apostates like you will be killed. He doesn't say it here, but he believes that critics of Islam like me, and that would include Thaddius, should be executed. Yes. So he believes. So what Ali Dawa believes is that all three of us who are on this show right now should be executed. That's what he is working towards. He's working towards a world where we would all be executed while he's watching. There are other video clips where he says he would be eating popcorn watching apostates be killed and so on. He's totally fine being on YouTube, being everywhere else. And here's the thing, guys, I want people to pay attention to the hypocrisy. Now, he's in the UK, but the fact is, if he lived in Columbus, in the domain of the Columbus Dispatch, and he were posting this, and he were working anywhere in the entire city, the Columbus Dispatch, neither the Columbus Dispatch nor CARE would ever have any sort of problem with it. If someone reversed it and said the opposite, and said people who convert to Islam should die or something like that, that would be this huge breaking story, and they would do everything they can to get a person fired. And it's like this level of insane hypocrisy where if you are doing something as a Muslim, you are not allowed under any circumstances to be criticized. And if you do criticize them, you have to be destroyed. You're an enemy. And for some reason, politicians and journalists and all kinds of other people even non-Muslims absorb this idea. And when they do it, they get praised by an organization like CARE. See, you get it. And they fall for it because they're freaking idiots. They're idiots. They're useful idiots helping to impose Islamic law in non-Muslim countries. They're morons. But as far as that, what he just said there, apostates should be killed. We would have a problem with that. And of course, if we were in Columbus and had a job, we would be fired for that. But it's not like he said other things like, if my 9-year-old daughter got her first period when she was 9, I would tell her she's ready to be married. At least he doesn't say anything.
I don't believe it. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, think about that. Deny King in her crack reporting on the on, I almost said crackhead reporting, in her crack reporting on the Catholic Church and what they're doing. Think, Ali Dawah is one of the most influential Muslims on the planet. He has over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Imagine if it were a Catholic priest saying, yes, you know, if a girl gets her period at 9, she should be married off and so on. That would be a story. This would be, we have to go after the Catholic Church because of this. But if it's a popular Muslim, nothing, not a word. And not only is there nothing, you're evil if you criticize it. So you're a good person if you expose something that's going on in a church. You're an evil person if you expose something that's going on in a mosque. That's just their thinking. And they're lunatics and they should not be reporters. If anyone should be fired here, it's Deny King for being a crap reporter.
Mm-hmm.
So wait a minute.
If she says, Dad, I don't want to get married. All right, no, but say she does. Say she does want to get married. Now, I'm right now. Okay, if she's 9 years old, and if she says that she's ready to get married, I will have to check that she's mentally ready, sexually and physically. Like she's ready. Is it all yes? Is it all yes? Yes. No, I'm saying, hypothetically, is it all yes? Okay, if they're all yes, if she's mentally ready, and she's found somebody. And a 40-year-old coming. Oh, listen, I have to ask for permission. Well, you got a 9-year-old. I took 10 years off to help him. You got a 9-year-old. No, let me watch it. If a 40-year-old man came to me and my dad said, I want to get married, I look at a mental state. Are you sure you want to marry this man?
This is so difficult to listen to, man.
Yeah, I know it's crap, but the important takeaway is he said.
Wait.
As a father, I have a right to say no. But if she wants to, at that age, because like I said to you before, in Islam we don't have an age. We don't say 9, 8, 4, 5, 15, 20. Mentally, sexually,
Wait, is it already passed? Where is it exactly in this clip? Okay, anyway,
asked it, man, dude.
Somewhere here in the clip.
What's wrong with you?
That number, no, you know in Islam, you asked me, would I allow my daughter to marry a 9-year-old? You know why not? The way we've been raised. Can I make a point? You asked me, would I allow my daughter to get married at 9? I'm saying the analogy is wrong. Because our teachers, the woman has to be sexually, mentally, and physically ready. That means if my daughter wants to hold on, let me finish. If my daughter reached the age of menstruation at 9 years old, I would say you are ready. You are ready to get married.
You're ready to get married.
So you're ready to get married. If she reaches the age of menstruation at 9 years old, then I will say to her, you're ready to get married. That's it.
Mm-hmm. But to his credit, he would ask her if she wants to get married.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah, well, he actually has a far higher standard than traditional Islamic scholars on this issue because they said it had nothing to do with menstruation. Certainly had nothing to do with the daughter's desires. It was entirely whether she was physically large enough to bear the weight of a man on top of her. That was the only criteria for whether she was ready to be married or not.
Anyway, now let's look at what the evil Thaddius said here. Let's see
what this bigot says.
Anti-Muslim Thaddius says. So he, after watching a bunch of clips from these Muslims, here's what he said.
Arguing for the truth of Islam in some way. Virtually every single other video we watched was, here's some magic words to say in order to get what you want. Okay, I think this is my close this out. Yeah. I think this will work. So this is my summary of what we watched today.
Crackhead clown individuals.
Watched a bunch of crackhead clown individuals. Couldn't have said it better myself, Ollie Dolan. Thank you for that. I have Alzheimer's now. Thanks, Thaddius.
So
I think that was it, guys. So wait, so Thaddius, that's it? That's where you said it? That was it? Wait, hold on. Hang on. Whoa.
This is what all the fuss is about.
So that was even lamer than what I thought. So let me get this straight. So you're going through all this insane stuff these guys are saying, all this ridiculous, insane stuff, and it's Ali Dawah who's talking about Christians being crackhead clown individuals, and you are clearly responding to the guys you're responding to there and said, yep, crackhead clown individuals, but you're just saying exactly what he said. And then how does it get reported? This guy calls Muslims crackhead clown individuals.
Let me show you. Let me show you exactly.
I mean, AP, think about this. You could actually find a crackhead clown, who is also, whatever religion he believes. Let's suppose he's a messed up Mormon crackhead clown. You go up and you say, hey, come on, you crackhead clown. And the Columbus, he calls Mormons crackhead clowns. Oh my goodness. And it would be technically true, but massively misleading, like insanely misleading.
Here's how they report
I hope you have a lawyer looking into this, because it's just extremely evil to say something that is like technically true. You did say it about some Muslims, but to make it sound like
we don't know what it actually said. Look at the article here. So the Columbus Dispatch wrote and reported on it exactly like this. This is exactly how it starts. A community shelter board employees under investigation after the Dispatch asked questions about his YouTube channel. On the channel, Thaddius Billman calls Muslims crackhead clown individuals.
Yeah, guys, what does that sound like? Does that sound like he was responding to a couple of Muslims, one of whom called Christians crackhead clown individuals, and he said, "Yep, what have we heard? We've heard from some crackhead clown individuals." Does that sound like that, or does this statement in the Columbus Dispatch from Denai King, does it sound like Thaddius calls Muslims in general crackhead clown individuals? And therefore, he's horribly biased against Muslims in general and is anti-Muslim in general. What does it sound? In other words, does this sound accurate, ladies and gentlemen? AP, you should do a little poll and say how many people think the Columbus Dispatch represented Thaddius fairly and accurately, and then we can check out what the poll says for future reference and send it to Denai King.
Just to add a little context here. In fact, not all the videos I watched were even by Muslims, right? So I was saying all these individuals that we watched shorts of, I just had the YouTube algorithm recommend videos, and then I just went through them one after another. Some of them were by white American males. I know, very underserved, underprivileged group there, who call themselves Christians, but are making videos about how awesome Islam is and how there's all these great things in Islam, obviously because they want to get some donations from Muslims who hope them to convert. I would say someone grifting the Muslim community is definitely a crackhead clown individual.
Thaddius Billman calls white Americans crackhead clown individuals, and will give him an award for that in the Columbus Dispatch. But since he talked about two Muslims who were saying these things, he has to be fired.
Man calls white Americans crackhead individuals. Let's have that down.
Get it right, crackhead clown individual.
Oh, sorry, crackhead.
Don't try water it down. Don't try watering this down, AP.
Clown individuals. All right. Let's have that here. Okay, let's have this here. All right, here. Man calls white Americans crackhead clown individuals. Okay, good. So when I read this article, if I didn't know the context at all, if I had no idea about the context here, if I had no idea what actually happened, if I had no idea who Thaddius is, and I read this article here and it said on the channel, Thaddius Billman calls Muslims crackhead individuals, I would think, what? That's kind of messed up, man. He says Muslims are crackhead individuals. That's what I would understand from this.
Yeah. That's that's the way everyone understood it, as far as I know, when they read the article.
And then they actually link to your video without even linking to a specific timestamp. And they link to a 4-hour and 46-minute video.
Well, I guess the implication is I just do it constantly throughout the video. In fact, it's one time that I played that clip. I checked. It's actually the only time that I've ever played the clip on the channel. After I talked to the reporter before the article was published, she asked about it. I laughed because I thought it was so ridiculous. I'm like, I'm mocking Ali Dawa, this guy who is calling me a crackhead clown. And she didn't put that in the story.
So she even contacted you. You even talked to her about this and clarified the context. And despite that, she still went ahead and wrote here that you call Muslims crackhead individuals.
Yes, indeed she did. So because I knew the quote, I didn't know which video at the time she was referring to. I did a search on my channel, and it's the only time I've used those words according to the automated script. So it's probably the only time I've even played that clip. So that's the grand total of all the times that, well, I played it a lot on my live streams recently because I call myself a crackhead clown individual. Again, calling white Americans crackhead clown individuals. It's true. But I kind of owned it now. But before the news article, I'd only ever played it once.
Dawa Troll posted, "Who is making a Dawa crackhead clown profile?" Like a crackhead clown profile.
This is messed up, man. You should probably talk to a lawyer.
This is extremely messed. This is extremely messed up.
You should look into suing them, suing the Columbus Dispatch and CARE, because this is like it's not just libel. It also directly leads to hurting you, harming you, your income. As far as I understand, you are now fired. You are now a jobless bum, and you don't have any source of income now. Aside from, you don't have your regular source of income, your work source of income.
Correct.
Yeah, and guys, this is just pure evil. If this is what passes for good journalism at the Columbus Dispatch, and if this is what Denai King thinks of as good journalism, it needs to be exposed. You have to, because think about it. If she just did this like it's no problem with Thaddius, and he said this about some guys who just said it, but I'll represent it as this is what he says about Muslims. If that's how she reports on things for her agenda in service of the Council on American Islamic Relations, to silence critics of Islam, and to send a message that criticism of Islam will not be tolerated. If that's what she's doing. In other words, if she's actually helping impose a light form of Sharia, that needs to be exposed. So Thaddius, you need to be contacting all the lawyers. If someone's willing to take it for free, cool. If someone says no, it's going to cost a lot of money to do this case, crowdfund it, take care of it, and at the very least, even if the court says, you know what, well, even though it was massive, I don't know what the law is as far as how much you can mislead with your words and still be technically correct. But even if it's somehow okay to be technically correct when you're massively misrepresenting someone, at least people will be aware of that, because it will be a story that the Columbus Dispatch got sued and so on. And for what? And here's the thing: even if they get away with it, there are lots of people who would look at this from Denai King and from the Columbus Dispatch and go, you know what? That's just evil. That's just evil to do that to someone. And if they think this is how reporting works, I'm not interested in ever looking at anything from the Columbus Dispatch again. By the way, side note, ladies and gentlemen, this is why people are just sick to death of the mainstream media, and this is why people go to like YouTube and Twitter and stuff like that now to get the news. You go to people you trust, and who do people trust? It ain't the Columbus Dispatch, I'll tell you, and you can see why. And it's because this is what happens to reporters. You got gullible, complete idiots like Denai King, and they are useful idiots for the Muslim Brotherhood trying to silence critics, and they'll say, "Oh, we'll praise you. We'll praise you if you help us silence all critics of Islam." And reporters go, "Really? Duh! Look, I got Muslims praising me. See, I'm the good guy here. It's the Muslim Brotherhood, but you see, I'm the good guy." No,
I will never again purchase a Columbus Dispatch.
Don't worry, no one does.
What's funny is I noticed something here which says at the beginning, so the key point, it says experts warned that Billman's rhetoric contributes to a climate of Islamophobia.
What experts?
Have harmful consequences. As far as I understand it here, there is no expert assessment here, is there?
They quote, they're right there. Sayer Salah, Director of Research at the Institute for Social Policy and Understanding. That would be their expert.
In other words, another Muslim Brotherhood front group.
And then the only other source here is having somebody like Robert Spencer, who he looks up to, it might give up some insight into how Billman views Muslims as well. Might give in some insight into how he views Muslims. However, here's the thing. It says here, experts warn that Billman's rhetoric contributes to a climate of Islamophobia and can have harmful consequences. From anything that I have read here so far, I don't really get this conclusion at all.
No, I don't think anyone said that actually. To be honest,
so
she just
made that up. So she just made that up. She made it up, basically.
Well, I'm sure she could find an expert who would warn about that. There are plenty of complete morons.
Man. This is why I
Powerful
use
stuff.
ad blockers. Alrighty. Once again, here. At the end, what they actually did, I don't want your freaking ads. I can't view this website without turning off my ad blocker. This is what the Columbus
It's a
Dispatch
crap
wants from me.
site. Dude, what did I say? No one's buying the Columbus Dispatch anymore, so they're stuck with their stupid crap website.
If you
And the only way
if you want to read
they can
this,
make
turn
money,
it off.
yeah, the only way they can make money is through their Ferguson ads right there. Build with Ferguson.
Here in the end, it says Islamophobia, a powerful ideology. Billman is creating and posting these videos at a time when diversity, equity, and inclusion are being attacked.
Oh, come on,
Relation-
Thaddius.
Muslims
Read the
are
room.
skyrocketing.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion are being attacked. And you're helping by saying that child marriage and terrorism are wrong. How could you do such a thing? Think about the poor 54-year-old man who's having sex with a 9-year-old girl. How would he feel if you said it's wrong? We at the Columbus Dispatch affirm child marriage and killing apostates.
Well, that would be cultural colonialism if you didn't. So
That's right. Not very diverse.
That makes sense. So here's the problem, however.
What a crap paper, man.
But here's the problem. I actually looked up not too long ago the numbers of hate crimes by a group, and in fact, I think here is the here's the Arab American Institute recording it. Here's the funny thing. Here are the numbers. I'm not sure if this is even accurate, but here's the Arab American Institute recording it. I just want to show it here before I continue looking to where I actually posted about this. So it shows here that the hate crime incidents reported in the United States 2023 by group of those attacked. You see here anti-Jewish, anti-Catholic, anti-Protestant, anti-Islamic, anti-other religion, anti-multiple religions, anti-Mormon, anti-Jehovah's Witness, anti-Eastern Orthodox, anti-other Christian, anti-Buddhist, anti-Hindu, anti-Sikh, anti-atheism, and so on. Which one is the most attacked group here? Can anybody guess?
Appear to be the Jewish people.
Well, you're clearly seeing it wrong because we don't count Jews because they don't we don't count Jews. We don't count them, man. Except for Jews. Wait, let's crop it. Let's do it like this. Here, okay. Now, which one is the most attacked?
Well, you're right. When you put it in that light, it definitely says anti-Islamic in parentheses Muslim. So.
Okay, and by what? But by how much? Just by so 236 incidents. And interesting. 236 instances. It seems that there really is a very, very big problem going on here in this country with anti-Muslim hate crimes here, which are very, 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 very alarming. Anti-Muslim crime is skyrocketing. Anti-Islamic crime is skyrocketing. We have no idea why this is happening, and you are just speaking here and making videos in which you challenge Muslims to prove their religion true, by which you're only contributing to the massacre of Muslims. Thaddius, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, I do have to repent and say shame on me for expecting Muslims to be able to show the religion is true. I mean, that would be completely and totally unreasonable of me, since that's literally impossible to do.
Good. Now repent, and I hope you come back when you're more reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to say, David, about this?
I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking about Thaddius's anti-Muslim bias, and I can actually prove it. Suppose you saw some church, Thaddius. Suppose you saw a church, and you saw that church saying that anyone who leaves this church has to be executed. And that in our church, 54-year-old men marry 9-year-old girls and consummate the marriage when the girls are 9. Let me guess, you wouldn't have a problem with it if it's in a church, but you have a problem with it if it's in a mosque.
Actually, I would have a problem with it.
Oh. Okay. All right. Well, you won that one. I thought I was going to corner you. You were going to say, yes, I don't care. I don't care what anyone does. Only Muslims, because those are the ones I hate.
I actually reported this here a while, not too long ago, where I looked at the data that reported by the FBI on hate crimes.
Hold on. Hang on. Guys, you got to pay attention to this stuff because this is hilarious. So Thaddius earlier on talks about how he's a data analyst. And now AP has, oh, look, I look at the data too. I look at data too. Yeah, he has to
Copycat.
Yeah, I know. Oh, look at all this data I was analyzing.
I have to prove myself, man. I actually looked at the groups at the bias types as they reported. So here is the FBI reported hate crime data ranging from October 2023 to September 2024. Anti-Jewish hate crime is at the top. Anti-Muslim bias is not even in the top 5. Yet we can't talk about anti-Semitism without also addressing Islamophobia, which sounds like a mockery. But this is literally this was at the time the data that I pulled up. So by bias types, you see the hate crimes reported by the FBI, and even anti-white hate crimes are higher than anti-Muslim hate crimes. Look at this. At that point, even anti-white hate crimes are higher than anti-Muslim hate crimes. These are the top 5 here. Anti-Jewish, anti-black, anti-gay, anti-white, anti-Hispanic or Latino, and Muslim are not among the top 5. Yet we are here sitting and talking about what a horrible environment this is where anti-Muslim bigotry is skyrocketing. And this stupid white man is only contributing to it. Yet the white guy is more targeted than the Muslims here. Isn't this a little bit stupid? If she wants to serve underserved communities, she should be serving Thaddius here. She shouldn't be serving the Muslims. Man,
Thaddius is, and I was about to say Thaddius is the real victim, but I mean, he is, right? I mean, he's the one who's been targeted. We're not talking about some sort of attack. He's the one who's been targeted. It's just by the Columbus Dispatch and CARE and Deny King, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I've been targeted as an individual. No matter how offensive whatever I might have said was to some individual, they have their feelings hurt for a couple minutes. Whereas I've lost my source of income and had my former employer, a lot of people who I liked and were friends with and respected, think that I'm a horrible person now. They think that I'm some kind of monster. I was told that they recently had a discussion in the office about whether it was right or wrong for Thaddius to be dismissed, and a lot of people said it was right. These are people who knew me personally, and I might have considered friends, at least friendly acquaintances.
well, if you were a good person, you wouldn't have been fired. So
Yeah, exactly.
And that, by the way, that's something that that I pointed out when I was talking about this over on my channel is once they get you with something like this, even if it's completely idiotic and bogus, that sticks, and they use that in the future. In other words, now that they've gotten him fired, anything else he does in life, they can just dismiss and do it again, right? Like suppose if he were to go get a job somewhere else and then they were to find out where he works, it would be, hey, what is this company doing hiring a man who was literally fired from his last job for being an anti-Muslim bigot? Whoa. And they use that, right? What was the evidence? He called Ali Dawa and a couple of other guys crackhead clown individuals because they said it. And so you'd look at that and go, that's a really stupid reason and massively inaccurate reporting. But that will never get brought up. It will just be, this guy got fired, right? Because that's how they do it. They'll come up, it's exactly what they did to Robert Spencer, right? They come up with some insane reason for putting him on, the Southern Poverty Law Center's list, which Southern Poverty Law Center, a place that gets sued and has to pay millions of dollars for misrepresenting a person. But if you can just get him on the list, that's what they do. Oh, Robert Spencer, he's a extremely hateful, Islamophobic, racist bigot. Based on what? Well, he always talks about jihad. They don't tell you what they're actually complaining about. But then now that he's on the list, now you can dismiss him for everything. And then you can use him to get other people fired, which is what they did to Thaddius. So it's like this thing that sticks to you, and they know that, and they take advantage of that. And reporters use that. and they are deny king. They are. This is pure evil, man. This is pure evil. I mean, think about this. You are literally trying to silence a person from objecting to things like child marriage and terrorism, and you're trying to destroy that person. Why? To create an environment that is like exactly like what we see in the UK, where tens of thousands of young British girls were raped, gang raped, drugged, pimped, and so on by an endless array of Pakistani Muslims. And police, prosecutors, everyone was terrified to say anything about it, because if they did, someone exactly like Deny King and the Columbus Dispatch would expose you for Islamophobia. So everyone kept their mouth shut, and tens of thousands of girls raped over and over and over again, because reporters were able to create the sort of environment that Deny King and the Columbus Dispatch are trying to create right here in the United States of America. Guys, you have to say no. You cannot do this here. We see what the results are in the UK. We cannot have the same thing here. And they are hell-bent on creating the exact same situation here.
I will say it very, very openly and very, 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 very clearly. This is an instance of, like, we sometimes talk about this, and some people bring it up and say and talk about, how Islam takes over and Islamic influence in America and so on. And I and others have said in the past that in America it's not like in the UK, it's not like in Europe. We are safe from all that kind of stuff and all that, but. You see the early beginnings of the influence and the interference in America right here. You have a man who works and who also voices his opinions on certain things, and who never wishes any harm, who never incites any harm on people. He works, and he simply shares his thoughts because he himself believes that his own religion is true, and that this other religion is actually against his religion and is false. So what Thaddius is actually doing here is that he's practicing his religion. He's practicing his own religion. He's defending his own religion. He's defending his own religion. He's practicing his religious rights for practicing his own religion, for defending his own religion against those who want to attack it and who want to destroy it and diminish it and replace it with their own Islamic religion, for loving his religion, for believing in his religion, for defending in his religion. He is then attacked by an Islamist organization that has proven ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, and by reporters who are sellouts and useful idiots, and is then fired from his job in a country that we so frequently call a Christian country. Right? They have it right here. A Christian man who believes in his own religion and who defends his own religion against those who want to destroy it and who want to destroy all of us is fired from his job due to number one, Muslim interference, and number two, secularist woke interference. This is what's happening right now. This is only the beginning of it. This is only the beginning of it. And this is actually an affront on our freedoms, on the freedoms of the average American here, on the freedoms of the average Christian here. The same thing could happen to you. The same thing could happen to anyone who goes online and who voices his opinion, who works at a certain place and who makes posts online talking about how evil Islam is. Imagine this for a second. We have the same people that we're talking about, Ali Dawa, Mohammed Hijab, the child molester advocate Daniel Hakikachu, and so on. These people obviously and very openly believe in establishing Sharia when the time comes, in taking over Muslim societies, in raping little children, and so on. When you then, as a normal working person, go online and report about this and say Islam is horrible and the opponents of Islam are crazy people who advocate for raping children and killing apostates and reinstating slavery, your employer in America, in the Christian America, could be targeted by CARE, in other words, by the Muslim Brotherhood extension, by the Islamists, and you could be fired for having an opinion. This is a direct affront, a direct interference with your rights here in America. And this media outlet here, this news outlet here, directly engages, works together with the Islamists who want to impose their Islam on a free nation, on a free society, and does their will and helps them report and helps them get somebody like Thaddius fired. This is what is happening here. Thaddius should be suing them, and people should be all over this and calling out this disgusting act, not just by the terrorist advocates and Islamists of CARE, but also by the media and by this idiot Dana King, who reported on this, who then also went on Twitter and then tried mincing her words and changing them and said, in YouTube videos, a Columbus employee calls YouTubers who defend Islam
calls YouTubers
crackhead clown
it's
individuals.
And keep in mind how she described that. Yeah, well, no.
Well,
Even that,
more
even her
accurate,
updated version is misleading. Yeah, more accurate, but YouTubers who defend Islam, not YouTubers who call Christians crackhead clown individuals, right? Not you're saying it back. It's just, any YouTuber who defends Islam, he calls a crackhead clown individual. That's what I would think if I read that. If I were reading the article, I would think you're saying things like, did you know these Muslims? These Muslims are a bunch of crackhead clown individuals. There's 2 billion of them. There's 2 billion of these crackhead clown individuals. That's why we need to destroy them all, and make them stop smoking all that crack and stop going to clown school, running around with all their clown makeup. Bunch of bozos, Bozo the clown, bunch of crackhead. That's what I would think you're like.
I messaged her and asked her for her to speak to her. Actually, she didn't reply. She didn't want to engage with it. I guess she
coward.
She doesn't want to do it because she's a coward who only likes to get people fired for their opinions. And if the Muslims, if the Islamists that Thaddius interacts with actually had their way, she would probably become one of the sex slaves of Mohammed Hijab, for example, who thinks that Muslims basically, that the Islamists basically the desire to take sex slaves from among the Western people. She would probably become one of those sex slaves, or she would happily submit to that. But hey, she has a problem with Thaddius having a job and working his workplace help the homeless, those who are in actual need, not those who are crybabies while also trying to subjugate us. This is what's happening here in the world. How ridiculous, man. Thaddius, did you set up a GoFundMe or something?
So I have not yet set up a GoFundMe specifically, or a call for funds, because I am in talks with lawyers. They want more documentation and whatnot. So I don't yet have an idea of what it will cost, and so I didn't want to set anything up until that time. But I do have other methods of support on my channel. I list my Patreon account, PayPal address or Subscribestar if you don't like Patreon. So several options there for donations if you so choose. I do want to make it clear that I'm not in desperate needs of funds. I do have savings that I can live off of for a while, and when I have an
rich
answer,
Islamophobe.
Yes, very rich, right? Very, very rich.
Extremely wealthy.
I didn't spend every dollar.
Basically, the other Elon Musk here.
Right, because I didn't spend every single dollar that I made. I do have some savings, and I'm not in desperate need. I'm not going to become homeless and have to go to a shelter served by Community Shelter Board anytime soon.
That would be funny if you ended up in the shelter. If you ended up in a shelter, that would be.
Yes, that would be very. I mean, it kind of would be.
Hey,
I mean, to be honest.
Thaddius. In all seriousness here, you do need to, if you haven't already, you do need to run this by every lawyer who deals with this sort of thing to find someone who's interested in this, and you do need to take them to court over this, because this is not just about you. If they get away with that here, they're going to keep doing this, and so This is not just about you. It's partly about you, but also partly about people trying to make the same environment over here. Think. If in the 1990s, when this is going on in the UK, and Muslim organizations are praising journalists into silencing critics, exactly how they're using this idiot Deny King here, if someone had stopped them there and said, you know what, you're not treating people like this, you're not getting people fired, you're not happening, this is not going to happen here, we will sue every last one of you who tries to silence us. You're talking tens of thousands of girls could have avoided being raped if someone had put their foot down and refused to allow that sort of environment to be created there. So this is not just you. This is bigger than you, and people need to put their foot down and say, nope. You every time you do this, maybe we'll lose. Maybe we lose in court. Maybe you can say, well, technically I was correct, even though I was massively deceptive in my reporting. Even if they somehow win, they don't like going to court over this. They don't like getting exposed and embarrassed over this stuff. So this will actually help modify their behavior, because if all they listen to is the conditioning that's coming at them and they're being conditioned by groups like CARE, guess what? Lawsuits can work wonders as far as what you think is acceptable at your job.
That's what they do. I'm going to pin that message so that people can go to your PayPal and support you there. You don't have to wait for an estimate. People should already, if they want to support you here, want to support you and all that. So, it's not just about you. It's about people in general. So stop being selfish and
quit being selfish and sue these people into oblivion.
Get a grip.
I definitely plan to. So that I don't know if irony is the right word exactly, but I contacted several lawyers who specialize in free speech issues, and all of them I kind of got like a generic reply saying like, due to a huge number of complaints, we're backlogged, expected to be a few days before you get a response. So apparently there are lots and lots of people who are having their free speech violated these days.
By the way, it is difficult. It is difficult for the lawyers because anyone who gets ticked off or annoyed about anything sends them a message and says, I want a lawsuit and stuff like that. So they do have to sift through some stuff before it's like, oh, this is actually seriously messed up.
Yeah, Victoria, yes, I did make you a mod, and please don't misuse it. Don't abuse it to be mean to people and do bad things. That's not what this is for. Have a sense of justice. But thanks, everybody. Anyway, so for those who want to help out Thaddius, who is a poor white man being attacked in these alarming times where anti-Christian white American incidents are skyrocketing, especially right now, who is in desperate need of help, go and help him out and support him in this struggle. You know what's funny?
Yeah.
I wanted to say anti-white things are skyrocketing, but then the thing is, if I say that, I will sound like a Nazi. But if you say anti-Muslim things are skyrocketing, then it's like totally fine, even if it's a lie.
Yeah, so I definitely appreciate any donations people want to make. For the time being, I'm concentrating on making as much YouTube content as possible, fighting back against not just Islam, but also the culture which allows this kind of thing to happen. So that's my main focus. Like I said, I am in contact with lawyers. They're asking for documentation and such before they decide if they want to take the case, which is perfectly reasonable. These things take time, no problem. But I'm concentrating on making as much content as possible. So your support will go towards that.
Nice. Here we have another Islamophobe saying we don't respect Islam. Yes, I said it. Shame, shame, shame. Lydia, shame on you. Yes. Anyway, let's have some super chats here. Let's have some super chats. Rick Newton, you see the proof late. It's what they do. This is true. That's a good point. Nuances Hard say, I just finished doing dinner dishes. I'm happy to be perfectly on time for this stream. Thanks for letting us know. That was very important information. I had to know that. Moshko, and you can't criticize Jews. The small heads censor everyone. Only one group can't be spoken of, said load of people every day on every platform. Yeah. That's what happens. That's what happens. It was probably the Jews who silenced
That's what
him.
they do.
Yeah. Jack Ray, embrace your inner winger bookshelves. Easy peasy. How can you be a true Christian when you don't have the Harry Potter series on your bookshelf? This is a good question.
That is
I
a
have
good
it
point.
somewhere at home, actually. Maybe I should do that. Arm Orthodoxy AP bookshelf is Sunnah. You must get one. Yeah, I have a small one right now, but I'm getting a big one because I want to brag about the size of it.
Hey, where'd you put the poll, man? Where'd the poll go? I wanted to take a screenshot. Did someone screenshot it before you got rid of it?
No, it's still there. What are you talking about? Right now it says,
Where?
I
I
said,
see
did
reasoned answer.
the
No, I see-
Columbus Dispatch represent Thaddius accurately? Yes, 19%. No, 81%. So 81% said no, and 19% is mentally handicapped.
All I see is reasoned answers.
Sorry, that was a bit harsh. Okay, can you see it now?
Oh, there we go. I got it to pop up again.
Good, good.
Yeah, I see it.
John the
No,
Press
that's good.
Boy.
I want to share that. I want to share that with Deny King.
John the Press Boy said, I was also fired for Islamophobia, so I took my Shahada through acid in my boss's face, was immediately rehired and promoted to CEO UK's based all ham to Ellen. That's pretty messed up. It's pretty dark and sick. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, man?
How about you get us new knees?
Sorry, wrong button.
You're sick. You are sick.
Okay. Van says, AP, Kate Schumann on time. David Wood, not Kate Schumann, late. Draw your own conclusions. Huh? David, do you see that?
Got a
You
point.
see that? You see that?
Yep.
Ida Rogozin, what's up, Ida?
I see, man.
I didn't ask. Ida, thanks, Ida, for the super sticker. Ida is based. It's just a kitty, a little kitty here. Answering LDS says, how should we handle Fuentes and his groypers? Every time anyone says remotely against them, they swarm the comment section. Well, that's what they do. They
urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
That's what they do because they have this whole thing going on. As soon as somebody mentions them, they alert each other, and then they all swarm. And I think it's like one groyper has 5 accounts or something like that. I don't know how it works. Or they have like a bot farm or something that's going on. So they swarm you and start saying, "Oh, you're a Jew, you're Jewish." It's really, really messed up. There's not really much you can do except just spread accurate information against them. That's it. It is sometimes disheartening when I look at Twitter and I see that, for example, let me show you something. Let me show you a post here that is by Jake Shields. So Jake Shields is one of those people who are completely who has brain damage and who likes to make completely baseless, nonsensical posts. Here, for example, I saw this post earlier, which was so ridiculous, beyond belief. For those that don't know, the Tengu are the ancient demons in Japan. Many Japanese historians now believe they were actually just the Jews. What do you think? Then he used a picture of Rabbi Shmuley here with his tefillin on, which, by the way, is a biblical practice. And then also apparently created this design here where some demon has a big nose and is wearing a tefillin. Now, this is something so nonsensically stupid, and I will quickly, actually, let me get right into it. So the Tengu are mythical beings in the Shinto religion and other Asian religions. They are just different spiritual beings and so on. And there is not a single person who has ever suggested, there is no historical research or scholarship at all suggesting that this is about Jews. Like, probably not a single historian ever said any such thing. This guy completely made this up. Now, if this guy completely makes this up, you would probably expect that this didn't get many reactions, right? Wrong. Look at how many people liked this post. 11,000.
11,000.
11,000. This is not even something that is like mixed with reality. Something that is like, truth mixed with falsehood. It is completely made up nonsense. Completely made up ridiculous nonsense. It has 11,000 views, 11,000 likes. Sorry. In comparison, very few comments challenging it. Community notes that are still processing. Looking at stuff like this, how complete stupidity, right? It gets so popular and is spread with bots is really, really hard to see sometimes. But what can you really do except to simply counter it with truth? I don't know. David, what do you think about this? Thaddius, what do you think about this?
Utter nonsense is definitely the words that come to my mind. I think you may have seen me react to this. Yeah, you'd think that if someone's going to make up such ridiculous nonsense, they wouldn't have anyone following or listening to them. But apparently, that's not the case. You're not only allowed, but I guess praised for making up nonsense about Jewish people. But if you say true facts about Islam, that means you're a bigot, obviously.
Yeah, racist bigot. Racist bigot.
And yeah, so I mean, just imagine that situation right there with Jake Shields. So Jake Shields posted that. I bet if you ask Deny King, hey, what do you think about Jake Shields, this white American non-Muslim MMA fighter? What do you think about him posting that about Jews? She'd probably go, oh yeah, there's something wrong about that. Not worth reporting on, but yeah, something messed up. But then if you were to show her Muhammad saying that the Muslims will not get rewarded, Muslims will not get their virgins in paradise until they slaughter the Jews, until the Jews are hiding behind rocks and trees, and the rocks and trees are crying out, "Ya Muslim, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him." And you said, you know what? I actually have a problem with Islam having as one of its goals the extermination of Jews. If you were to point that out, she'd get you fired. She'd get you fired for that sort of thing.
Well, if you asked her
life's work to get you fired over that.
She would probably say, I've never heard of Jake Shields, but she has heard of Thaddius because she wants to get some dude fired. You know. Here's the funny thing. I just thought of going on the Wikipedia article and searching for the word Jew, and it doesn't appear anywhere here.
Shocking, I'm sure.
And little side note on the issue, because that's actually connected to Ali Dawah. There was a time when Ali Dawah was posting about the Islamic view of Jesus and how Jesus is going to return and help fight for the Muslims and so on. And then he said he kind of veiled it so that an average listener who is not knowing what he's talking about wouldn't get it. But any Muslim who's familiar with the Hadith, and us, of course, he knows we would understand it. After explaining that Jesus is going to return and help fight the enemies of Islam, he says, so the day is going to come when trees are going to be talking to Muslims. Right? He's referring to that hadith. He's referring to that hadith, which says the trees are going to help you slaughter the Jews, and they're going to be calling the Muslims. So this is Ali Dawah announcing that he's looking forward to the day when they are going to slaughter all Jews. He says this openly, publicly on his YouTube channel. And if Thaddius were to look at that and say, wow, what a crackhead clown individual, Thaddius would get fired if he wasn't fired already for doing it before.
And if I talked to Robert Spencer about it, it would be twice as worse.
Yeah, that's a horrible sin, of course. D. Boudreau said AP is almost a people of the bookshelf. This is a very, very good point. People of the bookshelf. Smart. Go top. AP, you should have posted your believing in God post today. Keep everyone on their toes. That would have been messed up, man. If I posted my today I believe in God on April 1st.
That would have been good.
That would have been really stupid. But yeah, for those who missed it, not everyone follows me on X with Extra. Not everyone is on Extra, but I did say there that I believe in God now. And there are always people who want to ask me about this kind of stuff, and I kind of don't want to talk to anybody about it right now, but I at least shared some thoughts on it. This was actually after we came back from church. I made the post saying, where is it go? Where is it here? So I said, I believe in God. For more than 10 years, I did not believe. Today, I believe in God. And of course, I made this post not because I actually believe in God, but rather because I just wanted to get a bunch of likes from Christians. Now,
like Lily J posting, if this tweet gets 1,000 shares, I'll post a Shahada video.
She actually said that, man. That's really messed up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, give me 1,000 shares or likes or whatever, and I'll post a Shahada video. And for 2,000, I'll do this. And for 3,000, I'll do this. What is this religion, man?
For 3,000, you got to go to our OnlyFans page.
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, I believe in God, and I mean it with us in all seriousness.
Christian Islamophobe says that all Muslim women are on OnlyFans.
You see, Celeria Rosencroft, the people of the bookshelf. That's great. It is a very smart one. Brian Maker became a YouTube member. You are now part of the cult, and if you want to leave, you will be executed. Sarah F, AP, and David Wood, you should fire yourselves, you Islamophobes. We should. This also brings up a good point. When I told my wife about this, right? I told her about Thaddius being fired from his job for being anti-Muslim. She turned to me and said, "Thank God you can say whatever you want without having such concerns." You know, this is the thing. You can't be active and vocal and then and then work at a random place. There's always there's always the problem, always the threat of somebody interfering and you getting fired from your job or something like that. If you speak about Islam, if you speak the truth, not just about Islam, that's it.
Yeah, I will say that my emotions were all over the place when this happened, but I've come to a point where I'm pretty happy with the situation, and I do feel freed, right? I do feel like I no longer have to worry about the day-to-day concerns of work, but I also have to not worry about some Muslim finding out about who I am and my employer and calling them up and getting me fired, because that was always in the back of my mind that could happen. I didn't think it was going to be some social justice warrior white woman who definitely is not a Muslim. But I did think that a Muslim might do that at some point, commit some sort of employment jihad, if you like, and try to get me fired. And I didn't know, right? I didn't know if the employer would stand up to him or not. But if it gets in the paper, they won't stand up for you.
Alhamdulillah. Let's see. Thaddius looks and sounds like a Lord of the Rings character. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. I had to make sure that he's actually real before I met him. It's kind of weird. Tolerance says, what, Thaddius? Like Thaddeus from SpongeBob? Does that mean AP SpongeBob and David Wood is Patrick? That does not make sense. That's true. Mm-hmm. David, do you know about SpongeBob? Have you ever heard of SpongeBob?
I've heard of SpongeBob, and there's a guy named, I think, Squidward.
Yes.
And then his friend is Patrick. I saw like 2 episodes at some point, but there's this awesome clip where they're making fun of Texas, which is awesome, but I didn't know about any Thaddius.
Well, it's actually something that if you're a cultured person, you should know about SpongeBob. So,
and that is correct. There is an extra that's on a few episodes that's named Thaddius. So there you go.
Celeria says, it's okay, AP. I'm 7 minutes late myself. I'm going to watch from the beginning rather than continuing live, for my mother said to rewind. That's very, very good. That's how you do it, man. That's how you do it. When I'm ever late watching somebody's live stream, I start from the beginning and I put it on like 1.5 or 2 times speed and go through it like that. Eventually I catch up. It's kind of funny. Brian Maker, thank you so much. Steph S says, Danae's algorithm powered by Allah. Brian Maker, there are only worldly reasons for being on time. Atheists use the same reasons as everyone else. This is powerful. Very, very powerful. Based Autistic, you guys see Jay Peterson new vid on Islam. I haven't finished it yet, but it sounds like Jordan is still trying to be politically polite, not fully honest. He made a new video on Islam? I didn't see that. Jordan.
See what it's called. We might want to cover it.
Jordan Peterson, let's see. I was wrong about Islam. He helped end 6 wars and was called a traitor for it. What is this? It seems like an interview that seems like very uninteresting. I don't know. I might have a look at it sometime. Sarah F. Undeserved, like FGM women in Michigan who have no voice or victims of DV. What is DV? I can't.
Domestic violence.
Domestic violence.
Domestic violence? Oh, never mind. That's just religious freedom. Yeah, that's what she should be concerning herself with. That's the kind of stuff that she should be concerning herself with. We have lots of people who are female genital mutilation victims right here in America because of Islamic culture and Somalian culture and so on. That's what she should be concerning herself with. Eunuch Petsu, half world's problems will solve if women dene stay home. How do you know she actually goes somewhere? She probably stays at home and writes those articles. What's wrong with you? Yeah.
Powerful.
Children, Thaddius got fired for criticizing Islam. Classic chum bucket behavior. But if Islam is the chum bucket, does that mean Muhammad is plankton? That doesn't make sense. This is very, very good point. Kobe Koo, Paul used the quotes for the furthering of the gospel. Thaddius needs to too. I'm sure our Syrian family would love to use the quotes for justice. Powerful, powerful, powerful. There you go, Thaddius. What do you think about that?
Yeah, like I said, definitely pursuing that option.
Thank you.
Both for the paper and especially for my former employer. So
nice. We have 1776 people watching. Very, very important. This means this is a sign that we should fight for our freedoms as Americans, or something like that.
You got that, Thaddius?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Taking that
Mark,
sign.
Mark H says,
This is a good one.
Yeah. AP and David Wood are seething with jealousy that they are no longer the biggest Islamophobes. This is true.
Yeah. How many news articles have been written against you?
Yeah, and I've never been fired. Oh, no, to be fair, I had a bunch written about me back in the Dearborn days. Bunch, but I've never been fired for everything because I took steps to avoid that. Right? After I got my PhD, the only thing you can do with a PhD in philosophy is teach, and I understood because they were already complaining to the school when I was just a graduate student. So I know anywhere I go is going to be constantly harassed. What do I want to do? I'm just fine. I'll burn that bridge and just do other things.
Alhamdulillah. Here's Ali G saying F the United States. Here you have it. Ali G. If Ali G says it, then yeah. Hussein, hey, what's up, Hussein? How are you doing? Robert Spencer took Shahada on my channel today. He did? Wow. Robert Spencer is a Muslim now? That's good.
Powerful.
Jack Ray, Thaddius disagreed with Robert Spencer. How Islamophobic? Because disagreeing with, wait, what? Bo, rather, did Ali Dawah lose his job for calling Christians clowns? He didn't even lose his job for saying that apostates should be executed, man. If you're a Muslim, you can say whatever you want.
And he wouldn't. I mean, he could be the prime minister and they wouldn't have a problem with it.
Yeah. You could probably say, we Muslims deserve to take all Western women as sex slaves. They would still not be fired. I bet. If you want to test it out, I challenge you Muslims, test it out. Say it and see if you get fired or not. Prove me wrong. How dare you call Neckbeard Elmo a crackhead? Shame. Yeah, I noticed that you have an obsession with calling people something heads. Earlier you also said meth head or something like that. I don't think I didn't notice that, Thaddius. We're talking about meth heads.
Hey, Thaddeus, you know who you should call for a witness in your trial? Crackhead Barney, and then ask Crackhead Barney. Listen to this man, Ali Dawah, and what he says. Could this man be labeled a crackhead clown based on his behavior? And get the expert testimony of Crackhead Barney.
Good plan.
Victoria says based. If she says it, it must be true. Rick Newton, Thad the Chad. Ooh. Standing up for Jesus is the best of believers, unlike Deny the King, who is the best of deceivers. AP and David Wood and Chad and Thad the Chad, best panel. There you go, man. This is lots of praise. And this is the only time ever that I'm tolerating praise for somebody who's a guest on our channel. Normally they only get humiliation. So, and the cat apparently wants to get on the scene as well. It's cool. Dawa Troll, I can give you a job to sell Dehia's lotion. It will give you that white glow and Prophet Muhammad. Bo Ruther, are the Columbus Dispatch and CARE going after Ali Dawah for calling Christians crackhead clowns? That would be Islamophobic. That would be very Islamophobic and pro-Christian. Tezbot, do you think the UK authorities leave Ali D and Mo Hijab alone because they plan to legislate or just negligent and ignorant or complicit? What are your thoughts on this, you two gentlemen here?
Yeah, it's a good question there.
Thank you. Christian theologians.
Hang on. No, it's the exact same thing we're talking about. Leaving Ali Dawah and Muhammad Hijab alone. It's the exact same thing we're talking about now. So you've got Ali Dawah, you've got Muhammad Hijab, saying all the messed up thing that non-Muslim women who criticize Islam are basically waiting to be raped by their Muslim captors and so on. You got him just talking about Islam being this warrior religion, and the time is coming. The time is near when we're gonna conquer everyone and so on. You have him openly saying this stuff. You got Ali Dawah openly talking about 9-year-olds being ready for marriage and so on, and killing apostates. They can openly say these things, but the entire UK culture, especially journalists and politicians and so on, they're the ones who absorbed this idea as it was being spread in the 90s, that the only person who would ever in a trillion years complain about any of this must be a racist, Islamophobic, hate-mongering bigot. The population has absorbed this idea. It's taught in their schools. And then by the time you're a politician or a reporter, you know it. You cannot criticize this. So, hey, this guy's over here calling for the deaths of apostates. You have to keep your mouth shut, because if you don't, if you say something, you're the evil one, not him for calling for the deaths of all kinds of people. You're the evil one. And so they've absorbed this idea. And that's what we're saying. You cannot allow that same, that idea. Once an entire nation absorbs that idea, that it's a matter of time. That nation is done. They have lost, right? It's a matter of time. It can always change before it's too late, but if you do not change something, you are doomed. You're completely doomed. And here we have Denai King and the Columbus Dispatch trying to create the same environment in the United States of America. We got to say no.
So to directly answer the question before I was cut off there, I would say it's a combination of willful ignorance and
thank you. Let's moving on. Christian.
that they see reports and facts and just pretend that they are untrue, that people saying that this or that is happening, that's definitely untrue. So willfully ignorant in that regard, and then complicit, saying that it doesn't really matter anyway. What are you complaining about?
Nice. Christian Theologetics says, AP, now that you believe in God, what are your thoughts on Matt? I am not convinced Dillahanty. I don't have any thoughts on him. I think that my interactions with him in the past were just totally fine. He was actually
because you were an atheist.
My funny experience with Matt Dillahanty was that Atheist Experience invited me on there as a potential host one time. So I was a guest host with Matt Dillahanty together. And it was actually kind of nice. There was a moment during that show where Matt Dillahanty, there was a caller, like a Christian caller, or a caller who believed in God or something. And the caller was like asserting that she believes God exists and all that. And she was arguing from a very emotional place. And Matt was getting, he's one who gets very easily annoyed and angry, and started yelling at her and so on. And I then jumped in as this new host and said, Matt, please, may I say something here? And then just basically cut him off. And he was then, okay, sure, go ahead. I cut him off and then talked nicely to that woman. At that moment, apparently, he said, hey, I like this guy. I want to have him as a host on our show. So me just cutting him off and basically saying, hey, let's be reasonable, was apparently a nice thing to him, despite the fact that he often acts like with insufferable anger toward Christian callers and others. He actually appreciated that I cut him off and asked to be reasonable toward this Christian caller. So this is a side of Matt Dillahanty that the public may not see always. That he actually appreciates this attitude, which is why he wanted me on that show. Eventually, I ended up not hosting anymore. I said I can't do this right now, so basically left.
Basically left.
Yeah, but my interactions with him and my experience with him has been quite good until I made it known that I am now a catechumen and pursuing basically a Christian path. Upon which he responded on Twitter to me saying, I see that you have let go of finding or relying on proof or evidence and reasoning or something like that. To which I didn't respond. But anyway, long story short, this was a very serious response to a very jokey question here. Anyway. That's that. DTHFG says Islamophobic should be applauded. This is very rude. Very, very rude. Sarah Armstrong, AP, did you see that Aladdin also converted? I haven't watched Aladdin in a long time. I need to sit down. It was actually one of my favorite cartoons. The only cartoon that I liked of the Disney ones when I was a child. I feel like I need to rewatch that. Yeah. Dawa Troll says, "How dare you, Thaddius? You hurt my feelings."
My apologies.
Songs of Relief. Danae represents the undeserved. Surely her fury is well deserved. Underserved. Surely her fury is well deserved. Time travelers make us feel unnerved. So once again, justice is served. Love you, Thad. God bless.
God bless.
Ruth says, I caught a mouse with a jar in my room, keeping it as a pet. I named it Allah because Allah Akbar. I'm feeding it with nuts, bread, seeds, and fruits. Allah Akbar means Allah the mouse in Hebrew. That's very funny. Cheerful Turtle Girl says, all these so-called phobias, but the only phobia I see is the fear of truth. But it's perfectly fine when Ali Dawa publicly covers his wife in a trash bag and tries to communicate with a whiteboard. Ali Dawa would never do that. That sounds like slander. Ali Dawa would never do something like that.
Hey, you know what's messed up? That little mouse story about catching a mouse. As soon as someone said that, I remembered in prison, a guy caught a mouse and put it in a jar, and then he was planning on keeping it as a pet. And then another inmate grabbed the jar and shoved a pencil up the mouse's butt. So these guys, like, gosh, some of these guys need to be in here forever because they're evil.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
that's what they get.
I have my wife on my right. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Hope you want, inshallah. She's not going to be in the video, but she's going to have her say with this whiteboard that I bought her.
Check out your future, Denai King.
Yeah, that's Denai King in the future.
Woman is innocent, and the man is always guilty. Okay, that's something my wife wants to say. Salama probably had enough, as women give a lot of chances, has zero tolerance now. Okay, this is why I want you here. Yeah, it's very important for you to be here. Yeah, sisters take the costumes of their father or ex-husband, etc., and project it on other people. So, okay, she's saying,
what is with the video, man? This is Elon Musk's Twitter. See?
Oh, Twitter gets super glitchy. That happens to me pretty regularly.
Yeah. Oh, not him. I don't know his opinion. Well, exactly. There you go. Okay, there's nothing else I have to say. Anything you would like to say? If you do, just let me know, inshallah. The Prophet, peace be upon him, told us. He went.
So this is Ali Da'wah talking to his wife. Sorry, talking to his wife and having her talk back with a whiteboard. Mm-hmm. Sorry, right back with a whiteboard.
Just to recap, everyone, this is Ali Da'wah. This is Ali Da'wah. This is the same guy. This is the same guy who openly on YouTube calls for apostates to be executed once they are under Islamic control. There's a guy who says he will be eating popcorn watching apostates be executed. There's a guy who said if his daughter got her first period at the age of 9, he would tell her she's ready to be married. And here we have him communicating with his wife, who has to communicate with him via a whiteboard. She has to write down what she wants to say on a whiteboard so that her voice is not heard. This is the guy who called Christians who support Israel crackhead clown individuals. Thaddius said it back to him, and the Columbus Dispatch, Care, and Deny King got Thaddius fired over what he said to this guy. So everything this guy says is beyond reproach. If you say something he's saying back to him or criticize him or make fun of him for it, the Columbus Dispatch, Western journalists are coming after you if you respond to that. We talk about like the UK forming this insane environment where you can't criticize Islam. As an American, you can't even criticize what's going on in the UK. You cannot criticize this. In America, without care, and the Columbus Dispatch and Deny King coming after you. Thaddius, sue the crap out of these people, please.
I mean, this guy is just clearly is a crackhead clown individual.
New story for Danae King.
Get on it, Deny King. An American said this. He should be deported back to Turkey instantly.
You see, yeah. Ari Wasserman, everybody knows the FBI is controlled by Ben Shapiro. Why else would they say that? Stop lying. The power of Crandis compels you. Songs of relief. Are you looking for a new job, Thaddius? Maybe someone here needs a data analyst for their company.
Hey, I just thought of a character, AP.
What?
Candace Owens.
That's good.
Wouldn't that be cool? Candace Owens, and it's exactly like Candace Owens, except hates Jews the same way.
It's not the worst thing I've heard. It's pretty good. Huh. Mm-hmm. Just paying my jizya, said Illy. Wonderful. Steve McLovin, Job had a whiteboard with Ramadan stuff on it. Wrote Great Land, and the whole board was erased the next day. Powerful stuff.
Great Lent.
Powerful.
You wrote Great Lent on it.
Dawa Troll said Thaddius to debate CD. What, that will get money, right, AP? Yes.
Oh yeah. If you needed to fund an entire lawsuit, just have Thaddius debate Central Dawa. I promise. Oh yeah. Deny King. How many stories did you run on Central Dawa, an American Muslim, saying that he was gonna kill AP, this guy right here on the screen that you're fuming about? I can't believe he's saying these things. Central Dawa said he was going to kill him. Completely irrelevant. In fact, Deny King, if you saw AP and Central Dawa in that discussion with Central Dawa threatening to kill him, and AP says anything in response, you would be mad at AP. And if you don't understand what a lunatic you look like to anyone who's not as big a lunatic as you, I really hope you get sued until you understand.
Dene King, I have to say it. I think that you are a crackhead clown individual. So, if anyone deserves to be called a crackhead clown individual, Dene King, it's you. Columbus Dispatch says Daesong owned by Gannett Co. majority shareholder BlackRock. Surprised? No. I wouldn't make a big deal about BlackRock owning things. They own everything. Mojo Jojo praying for you, Thad. With care, beware of care. I will be praying you get justice in Jesus' name. God bless you, AP and David Wood. Stay away from Islam, y'all. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Minik Argawan says, have you heard about Epic City in Texas, a plan for an Islamic city ruled by Sharia law in the U.S.? Yes, and I know that a good friend, Amy Mick, has been one of the major voices calling attention to that and speaking about that and reporting on that. Shout out to her here. I think some guy, I don't know who that was, some mayor dude or some politician in Texas said that Texas will not allow any Sharia thing to take place or something like that, didn't they? I don't know.
It would be against the Constitution, so I don't think they could possibly do it.
Amy has been reporting on that bigly. She's been reporting on that bigly. What is this? What's happening here?
Often as American.
Yesterday, the public testimony against Epic City. A young Christian father stood up before county officials in a packed room and boldly declared Jesus Christ before a packed meeting hall, right in the face of a dangerous ideological project. Let me see.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's see if your Twitter's working now.
Thank you. My name is Elias Bonilla, and I just want to say a lot of times, often as Americans, we say, God bless America, or in God we trust. But you got to ask yourself, what God are you referring to? The God of this world being the devil, or the God of heaven and all creation, which is Jesus Christ? The word of God says that he hates the workers of iniquity, being evil. And oftentimes in this world why it's so corrupt is because we think evil is good and good is evil. So therefore, people following this Sharia, whatever it's called, law.
He says Sharia law.
people following this Sharika.
But that's evil because they think these things are right, and because they grew up this sort of way. So to try to have this come into a country that is Christian based or by having moral.
It's like he said, Christian based.
Yeah, he said based. A Christian of based Christians.
Law, this goes against all of that. And just for future generations, I have a daughter, so I can just imagine. Now I'm in Texas and I'm young, but I can imagine that affecting her in the future. So yeah, Jesus says I'm the way, the truth, and the life. So I'm following his way, I'm following his truth, and I'm following his light, his glory, and his majesty. And I just ask that we all come together as one unified body and serve him and him alone. And yeah, God bless everybody.
Nice.
And now we have his name, and I'm sure Deny King and the Columbus Dispatch are whatever job this guy has want him fired. So you have people want to make these little Sharia cities in Texas, and if you object, yeah, you need to be fired too. So yeah, I by the way, I guarantee you, groups like CARE and stuff are looking for this guy. Looking up trying to figure out on social media where he works, and they will call him out and get any sympathetic journalists, i.e. useful idiots like Deny King, to blast him until he gets fired, to teach a lesson to him and to others. Hey, by the way, look at that over there. Look at that. Look at the little trending thing. Israel eliminates tariffs on U.S. goods. You see, Israel is committing genocide against tariffs.
You know what's funny?
They're eliminating the tariffs.
You know, you say that, but the funny thing is, the first thing that I saw about the news that Israel eliminates all tariffs on U.S. goods was actually, what? Israel had tariffs on U.S. goods? What? How dare they? So here's the thing. Lots of people, of course, want to chime in and don't have any idea on the topic and want to have an opinion on it, and especially if Israel is involved, they want to have strong opinions on it. But the focus that they have, the reaction that they have, is not that Israel did something good. Is that, wait, why did Israel have tariffs? Such a weird world, man. Pretty lots of allied nations that work together have tariffs on different goods for different purposes. America has tariffs on lots of nations out there that America has very good relations with, and so on. This is something that people just do, and for Israel to eliminate all tariffs is just actually a very, very solid.
Yeah, you can because right now, because of what's been going on the past couple of months, we're thinking of tariffs as like punishing. Yeah, because that's how Trump's using tariffs to put pressure on other countries and stuff like that. But very frequently, if your country produces something, but another country can produce it more cheaply and so on, so you want to help the people in your country, you put a tariff on it that makes the prices comparable, so people don't automatically choose the foreign product and so on. So
yes, basically. Stefan the Pelted, give no quarter to the devil. I would say it applies to this case as well. Do not let them have a precedent to destroy free speech and criticizing Islam. I agree with that completely. Yeah, completely. Sivako, somewhat.
By the way, I mean, a serious issue on like a lawsuit. I mean, just imagine how awesome it would be to really make them explain why Thaddius should be fired over this stuff. If you actually had and we call Robert Spencer and we call the Southern Poverty Law Center, and Southern Poverty Law Center, please explain why Robert Spencer is on your hate group list. Explain that. And then them actually respond. And then Robert Spencer actually, yeah, I reported a story because it's exactly what am I doing wrong here if I report on terror? Because that's basically what Robert does. He writes books, and then he posts news stories about jihad. That's it. That's what he does. Shame on him.
Anthony Lefleur said Thaddius needs to have his own bookshelf in the background so we can compare his with David and AP's bookshelf. This is true. But you can't make an early judgment yet because I'm still getting a bigger bookshelf. I'm changing my setup here a little bit. So
Yeah, and nothing can compare to mine. Look at this. I got paintings in there. I got statues.
compare.
Nothing compares to my bookshelf.
Bo rather, Thaddius is basking in all the attention. Powerful.
That's what he does.
That's what they do, man. They come here and take away all the attention and our jobs. Ivan, you should really still consider doing a GoFundMe. We need an easy way to share and show public support for people like you. They gain more momentum too. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I agree. I agree with that.
I agree, but kind of after you figure out what you're going to do legally, because you don't want to be setting up multiple GoFundMes and stuff like that. So figure that one out, and then yes, absolutely you should.
Style and Rail Woodworking said, "Don't let anyone make fun of your cat cumin bookshelf." This is very, very true. Thank you so much for your support. The White Trash Panda said, "If you're gonna girden, have a bookshelf in it." Yes, you should at least put a fake bookshelf up there.
Hey, I should send you a nice picture of mine, and then you can like pretend you're in my pretend you're in my room anytime.
Baraka Low says, "Thank you guys for standing up against Mohammedans. Waiting for you guys to release a video of the Arab slave trade. I did something on that a long, long, long time ago, but it's probably time to do everything again because that was a long, long time ago. I did make a video that is old, that is called something with slave trade. I don't know. Post Ramadan Abdullah, please congratulate my waifu for taking the Shahada. I got her from Waifu Pillow Store. I still have plans on making Lily J my second waifu. No. In forward, David Wood, how is the Islamic Dilemma project going?
Pretty basic. We've gone through Surah 2. We've got a couple hundred people involved. People have gone through Surah 1, Surah 2, taking notes, finding all the verses, and people found out how many there are. There are a bunch. And Chris from Speaker's Corner already posted a video going through everything Surah 2 says about the previous scriptures. And I just posted the assignment for anyone who's here who's in there. I just posted the next assignment and an update and a couple issues that people need to respond to in the community. And then we're moving on to Surah 3. Another good one.
Crackkopf Dawa said, "How dare you skip my super chats?" Skipping.
Hey, check out Thaddius.
Nice.
Classic.
It's a better bookshelf than no bookshelf. Yeah. Have you studied the resurrection argument, IP? Says Cole Craddock 707. I'm not sure what you mean by studied it, but studied that the resurrection can be proven or evidenced, and based on that, Christianity is true. I guess that's the assumption here. I guess that's the point here, right? Isn't it? That's something that David would do, for example. As in extensively studying it, I probably haven't, no. But it's also not something that I necessarily relied upon in my journey so far. Again, I'm like very, very at the beginnings of it. So, Christina, Daily Wire, when will you and Associated Press start calling shows?
Yeah, I definitely want to. I also know that I'm technologically completely backwards. I am later this year. I got a couple of people who are moving close to me who are more technologically literate than I am. But yes, so sometime this year we'll start some call-in shows, because there are other things you need to do, and Thaddius is aware of this because Thaddius does the live call-ins and so on. But you actually have to set up everything so that it's on a delay, because a lot of guys will say, "Hey, let me in. I want to talk about this." And as soon as you do, they start posting porn and stuff like this to trying to get your stream shut down. These are the guys who are like, what are they doing? They're trying to silence you from talking about Islam. It's the exact same thing over and over again. These are the people who basically have the same mindset as Deny King. You have to shut people down if they're going to talk about this stuff. But so yes, you have to do some additional stuff. You can't just let people on. They instantly start posting porn, or they start yelling out racial things and stuff like that to get your thing shut down. So anyway, got to deal with that sort of thing. I don't know how to do that, but I will be bringing in people who know how to do that. And then I'm thinking about just starting like a nightly thing, like live call in, like every night, like 6 or something like that. Just live call in. take all challenges, that sort of thing.
I'm sure you're going to do that.
Quiet, man.
Next one. Rumil Salih said,
Yeah, Muslim.
Christians are the most persecuted today, yet there is only Islamophobic and anti-Semite terminologies. How ironic is that? Happy Akitu to you. This is true. Christophobia is at an alarming rise, which is why we should be talking about Thaddius being fired from his job for being a Christian here. And I'm not even joking. And Wyckoff said, what do we do about creeping Islamization? My son was forced to take Arabic instead of Spanish in school, and we live in New Mexico. What? In New Mexico? And there was no Spanish available? And had to take Arabic instead? Are you serious? What?
I think Spanish might be useful in New Mexico. I don't know.
There was no Spanish available and he had to take Arabic? Is this... Wow. Wow, man. That's pretty messed up. This was years back. It's worse now. David, what do you think about this perversion?
I have to say, Anne, since you are on the right side of this issue, might be good for your son to learn some Arabic along the way. Might come in handy in the future. So look on the bright side. If he wants to learn Arabic, fine, cool, and then he can use it.
Victoria Knox, that's discrimination against my people. ¿Qué pasa? So this is very, very true. Well, maybe you should move to Mexico, to make up for that. Hobocop behavior says Islam falls. Phase 1, Song of Solomon. Phase 2, me strong, we destroy you, little weakling. Phase 3, Aisha was ready. Kufar. Phase 4, oi chat GPT. Queen Hyena, do not go full UK. My country is now beyond belief. Thaddius wishing you blessings. AP David Wood, thanks for making me laugh. Really needed it tonight. You're welcome, Queen. And you live in a horrible country, and I guess if you live under horrible circumstances, you need to console yourself with a little bit of humor, to make the best of it. I would say that you live in a country that is on the brink of the apocalypse. So given those circumstances, and I also frequently say that the UK is a terrible place, a horrible country, laughable country. The people are very dumb and so on. By those I mean everybody except you, Queen Hyena. So, but I'm glad to have you here. And I hope that the UK can be saved in the future after the Civil War. Ethan Matthew, how many women takes to cook goat with friction alone? Very, very horrible thing to say. Trillerin says AP speaks German but didn't know Thaddeus is Squidward. Next, you'll tell me he thinks Chewbacca is just Big Ewok. That does not make sense. I never watched SpongeBob. Okay, I passively listened to it my entire life, and all I know are just SpongeBob and Patrick and the other loosely arranged names here and there. That's
there's one clip. There's one SpongeBob clip I've watched probably 30 times, and that's where they're just brutally making fun of Texas. There was someone from Texas there, and SpongeBob and Patrick start making fun of Texas, going, "Howdy, y'all, I'm Texas," and SpongeBob forms in the shape of Texas, and he goes, "Hey, Patrick, guess what I am?" And he goes, stupid. And he goes, "No, I'm Texas." And Patrick goes, "What's the difference?" But it was just brutal smackdown of Texas for no reason. It was just hilarious.
That's funny. Goldhub said every single European is an idiot except you, Queen Hyena. I agree. Amir George, don't you think that the radical left is some kind of religion like Islam? It is Islam. Based autistic, if Alex O'Connor and Mike Jones did the fusion dance, would he become Alex Jones?
Why wouldn't it become Mike O'Connor?
This is so stupid, but I'm finding it funny because of the reference. Also, when we raiding Alidawa again, I almost died from laughing. That was hilarious, man.
That was one of... I was trying to prepare an opening statement, and these guys are dying laughing for.
It was so unexpectedly funny. It was hilarious, and apparently he talked about us in his live stream and then started twisting it into, if they came over to our live stream and then they actually started donating or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you see, Allah's the best of planners, and this because it's $1 million and we built a new mosque because of it. Yeah, you see, Allah knows best.
For anyone who missed that, the video is the clip of that and the full live stream are on AP's channel. But long story short, these guys, it started off me and AP, and then John McRae jumped in, and God Logic and IP and stuff. People were jumping in to a live stream, and they were up to like 2,500 people watching live. And then someone mentioned that Ali Dawa was live, and he had like 35 people watching, even though he has over 1 million subscribers. It's like, what's going on? Does this guy not know how to do a live stream? So somehow these guys said, "Hey, why don't you toss some support over there?" And they went and they anyway, they got him a couple hundred extra people, but everyone is posting Jesus is Lord and so on in the chat, and they had to shut it down and then reboot it in members only mode and so on. But it was pretty much one of the funniest things in history. So you got the video there. Be sure to check it out.
This clip is just this moment, his super chat is just in my mind. We just pulled a crusade on his life, straight up invaded, take back the holy life. It was very, very, very nice. Very nice. The crusade on his life, straight up invaded.
we were so powerful, we shut down the stream. Good job, everyone.
Take back the holy life. This was such a good live stream, man. I loved it. It was much funnier than I thought it would be.
You could say that you're just serving the underserved communities, because Ali Dawa only had 35 people there. I mean,
yes.
Poor guy.
Thanks to us, it went from 30 people watching to 230 people watching. So, Boschlek 17 Mirror. Look at Google, then look and talk. Read the hardly ever. I know you were saying something about David Wood being on Rational Wiki or something. I shall look it up. Bruce George, could you guys translate some of your important messages in Arabic? Could we? We probably could. Would we? I don't know.
Massages? I'm going to translate massages.
Yeah, I don't like massages anyway. I never gotten a massage. I've never really gotten a massage. It's kind of weird. Moshko and Thaddius, in Judaism, we say everything that happens is a blessing from above, and I truly believe this is in your case. Stay safe, brother. God is with you.
Appreciate it.
Thaddius, why do you have a Jew wishing you all the best? This means you're being controlled by the Zionists to endanger the Muslims, you see. Holy Joe. David, I heard about your dissertation on the problem of evil. I want to learn some of these things on a scholarly level. The problem is that I feel like I am not smart enough for college fresh out of high school. Any tips?
As far as at the scholarly level, you probably want to learn the not scholarly level first. You wouldn't want to jump right into a dissertation about the Bayesian version of the argument from evil. It's extremely technical. So yeah, as far as learning the problem of evil, I would go to some talks by Christian apologists who've covered it. William Lane Craig has an awesome lecture on the problem of evil. Greg Kokel from Stand to Reason has an awesome lecture on the problem of evil. Yeah, so I'd start with those kinds of things and then see where you want to go from there.
Powerful. Final super chat. Ligamathigan says Sharika law sounds like the name of a daytime court reality TV show, like Judge Judy or Judge Joe Brown, with extra attitude. Final super chat. Annabelle says Amy Mack is an ex-space called Trump War Room with a bunch of MAGA journalists. They may be interested in the story and can help. I frequently message with her. I could ask her to have a look at that. She does good work with connecting people to each other with the whole sphere of Islamophobes. We are part of a secret cult of Islamophobes who gathered in a secret room and pull all the strings, who connect with all the Islamophobes in the world. So I will probably get in touch with her on this. Might do that.
I'd appreciate it.
Romology, final super chat here, says Reasoned Answers should start a second channel called Unreasonable Questions. Hope you sue for libel, mate.
That's the plan.
Good. Final super chat here. Holy Joe says Shakira law. That's true. Bull Rudder says Thaddius, does your cat still have his job?
Yes, all 6 of our cats are still employed.
You got 6 cats?
Yes.
That's messed up, man. That's why you need to GoFundMe so that they don't hunger. Bull Runner Arabic in NM to talk to jihadis exiting the border. In New Mexico, to jihadis exiting the border. Powerful. Kane Corso Mom, have you guys watched House of David? I have only seen the trailer so far, and I thought it was kind of weird looking and kind of strange. But
what is that, a movie or a show?
It's a show about David.
King David.
King David. Not you. Yeah. I don't know. I heard people say that it's good. I heard others say it's a perversion. I haven't checked it out yet. Sarah Ev, casual observation. Mormons have magical secret underwear with OCD rules oddly similar to wiping with odd number of stones. Demons really not creative. Powerful point. Final super chat. AT Ministries says you should collab with Egyptologist Dr. David Falk to do a vid of everything the Quran says about the Exodus and Pharaoh and all the things it get wrong. Yeah, why are you laughing, Thaddius?
Just the idea of an actual expert looking at the Quran's history. And it's so funny because actually, that's the one thing that Muslims always point to. The historical miracles of the Quran. And it knows that Joseph was, or the Pharaoh was called king during Joseph's time and not Pharaoh.
Are you saying it's stupid?
Yeah. And why are you using this horrible fake accent to mock people who aren't as white as you are?
Yeah. Sorry. I apologize.
We apologize for everything, Denai King. You were absolutely correct about this guy. We take it all back. He should be fired. He should be fired and be in prison.
Yeah, we want to apologize very quickly for this very shockingly Islamophobic and bigoted moment that I didn't expect on his live stream. So, yeah. AT Ministries, AP, who do you think won the debate? I did, probably. Which debate are you talking about? With David Wood and Alex O'Connor? I didn't watch it. Why would I watch something so boring? Oh, David, how did that go?
Oh, it was fun. We went in completely. It's like a reverse of normal debates, because normally you'd have if a Christian's defending the deity of Christ, he would be quoting a bunch of passages from like John and so on, and the atheist would be saying you can't use that because it's later compared to the earlier material and stuff, and you don't have that stuff in the earlier material, whereas I based my case on earlier material, on the earliest material, and Alex spent his time using the Gospel of John to defend his points and so on. So it was really weird. I mean, it's interesting because that makes it interesting. We're going in completely different directions. We were arguing past each other quite a bit because I come out and I build my entire case based on the earlier material, and he's just going after John the entire time. And I kind of showed up for a historical case, right? Like what is our earliest material and what do we find everywhere in our earliest material? So I'm prepared for like a historical case, whereas he came using a theological case. He's basing it on theological interpretations of the Gospel of John. Uh-huh. So we were kind of arguing past each other. I think I had a significantly stronger case in the opening and so on. By the time we got to the a little discussion period, I've never crashed like that as far as energy and in a debate ever. So anyway, I haven't seen it, but and I didn't know why. I mentioned this last night in a live stream when people are I'm just saying, because you might notice it. One, you'll notice I get really slow and I'm just kind of seem out of it or something like that in the discussion period, but I couldn't figure out why, because I was thinking it's because I was horribly sleep deprived, but I'm always horribly sleep deprived when I travel, and I'm used to it. So it's kind of it's a normal way of life for me to be massively sleep deprived. And I was just thinking, like, is it just I'm getting older and I can't do it? I can't do that like I was younger, because I stay up at night and I sleep during the day. I take care of my kid at night, and then I sleep during the day. And then so on Thursday or whatever it was, instead of sleeping during the day, I had to get on a plane, flew to California and so on. And then, so I'm up that day, and then I try to sleep at night like a regular person, and I couldn't sleep well at night because I'm not used to sleeping at night. And anyway, then I get up the next day when I couldn't sleep and had to stay up and prepare my opening statement. Point is, all of that is still pretty normal. I'm used to not being on a lot of sleep. So I was thinking, like, after the debate, like, is it just because I'm old now and I can't do that anymore? And I got home and I was telling my son, I was like, I'm good at not sleeping, but I just felt like crash. And it actually felt like, if anyone's ever fallen asleep while driving, that's what it felt like while I'm debating. It feels like I'm nodding off and just falling asleep. Anyway, I told my son that when I said, I can't figure out what it is. Like, can I just not function on lack of sleep? And I said, I took a bunch of caffeine right before the debate. And my son says, did you take caffeine pills or did you take energy drinks? And I said, energy drinks. And he goes, the kind with lots of sugar in them? And I go, yeah. And then he goes, I always crash after those. And then I thought, it was like, oh, I never drink the high sugar energy drinks. I did right there, just because that's what I had when we went into this store, and that's what they had there. So I chugged 2 of those. Anyway, fun debate, interesting stuff pops up. I love my argument. In fact, I was looking forward to getting Alex's response. Like, how is someone gonna react to this argument? So I'm actually going to tweak it in light of his criticisms and so on. Put that out as a modified version, just my argument and so on, for some more criticisms, because I think it's a really good argument, and it's good to know. So anyway, I crashed during the discussion period. To be clear, to be fair, Alex was probably pretty sleep deprived as well, because he flew across the ocean, so he probably had issues. But he's a naturally better conversationalist than I am, especially when he's like interrogating someone. He's probably the best I've ever seen at that, which is why he does really, really well in discussions and interviews and so on.
So you lost. So
if you're basing it on that, if you're basing it on the discussion period, oh yeah, no doubt. I'm seriously could not focus on what he was saying, and it was weird. It was like, imagine like you're everything you're conscious of, it like holes start forming in it, and then you're like, wait, snap out of it, and like, the hole goes away or something like that. That's what it was actually like. It felt like falling asleep at the wheel. What was cool was God Logic jumps up during the Q&A, and then another guy jumped up in the Q&A, and they were actually responding to some of his points that I didn't actually respond to, and they kind of burned him up during the Q. God Logic burned him up in the Q&A, and then the last guy in the Q&A just totally burned him up. So anyway, it was good fun debate. Definitely worth watching. Liked my opening. Thought the rebuttals were cool. Alex, it was weird because he wasn't actually responding to what he eventually got to some responses, but it really seemed like this is kind of an issue I had. I don't know how to point this out during a debate, but
that's the funny thing. I'm going to let you continue, but I see that you want to continue going on, but it seems like a very, very very long response and a very very complicated attempt just to get around the conclusion that you just lost the debate.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to point out while watching, it seems like Alex, and this would be the criticism, because Alex is a good debater, but it seems like he showed up with arguments against the deity of. It seems like he showed up thinking he knew what I was going to argue, and that I was just going to argue from the Gospel of John, and that I didn't, and then he just stuck with the responses he prepared for, even though they had nothing to do with what I was saying. They had nothing to do with what I was saying, and so it's kind of an issue. But I don't know. No, it was fun. It was fun. You get our stuff. Low energy, cool questions, cool question and answer period at the end. But definitely worth watching. Fun stuff.
So you lost.
I was humiliated by Alex O'Connor.
Well, here's my thing. So your assessment, of course, of the situation would be that that you felt drained of energy because of a certain drink, because of sugar levels and this and that, which is, of course, which shows to me that you never watched the documentary What We Do in the Shadows, because to me this seems like a very, very clear case of Alex O'Connor possibly being an energy vampire and feeding on you and draining your energy during this debate. So, which explains why he wanted to come here.
And I did see What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was awesome. A matter of fact, unlike you, loser, I saw it in the theater. Ha!
Oh, I'm talking about the show, not the movie.
Oh, I've never seen the show.
Yeah, the show is better. Nice. So I can't wait to watch the debate. Ethan Matthew said Shakira Shahada.
It's Shanada.
Shanada. Rick Newton, Aladawa has a live stream. That's why it broke. Powerful. Loaves of bread.
live stream.
Have you seen Sek Def Heg Seth has a kafir tattoo? I did see it. We also briefly talked about it, and David did say that he wants to get one too now that that Heg Seth has it.
Except I'm gonna get mine tattooed across my butt. Isn't it funny like that? Because we've been talking about Care, but isn't it like funny the reactions of Care? Look at this! How could he do this? It's like the Quran is like kafir, 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 kafir. Like fine, I'm fine. I'm a kafir. Oh my goodness, this Islamophobe called himself a kafir.
You see, in Wyckoff, yes, believe it or not, Islam has come bigly to Albuquerque, New Mexico, of all places. Where else is this happening? That's really messed up. I had no idea about that. All I knew about that place is that that Breaking Bad is there, and that's it's a place where where some old man sells a bunch of meth to people. That's all I knew about that place.
Bigly.
But the only thing the only other places where that happens are Europe and all over America, basically. So. JTV Forever says, getting fired over religious discrimination is a federal crime. So glad you're escalating this, Thaddius. Reminds me of the time my lawyer buddy Robert took on a lady cult preacher. She got toasted. Keep him coming, y'all. I'm serious. You should make the case that this is actually discrimination against you based on you defending your own religious beliefs and arguing for your own religion. Basically, you expressing your beliefs, your religious beliefs, and your opinions thereof. It should be entirely justifiable and understandable that defending yourself, defending your religion online, and countering Islamic dawah is part of your beliefs. It is you literally taking your religious beliefs seriously and practicing them and defending them. This is your religious beliefs. This is what you do. You defend your religion. You're practicing your religion. You are standing up for your religion. You are building a case against those who want to destroy your religion. You are practicing your beliefs. And for that, you are fired.
Yeah, that's definitely the way I feel about it. I'm not an expert on the law by any means. I'll leave that to the lawyers. But as far as I'm concerned, yes, absolutely. I was discriminated based on religious reasons.
Very true. Blessed said David Wood had a Joe Biden moment. That's what it sounds like to me.
No joke. No, it was exactly like that. It's just like I can. What did he just say? He's looking at me like I'm supposed to respond. What the heck did he just say? Exactly like that.
Nice. Sean said Albuquerque. Hunter Verdon says, you see, this is the proof David lost the debate because of Allah confusing him. Since he's the best of deceivers, revert now. This is the proof. Moshko and Daily Wire, you'd love the Shadow series. Way better. I think so too. You should watch.
Way better because I thought the movie was hilarious.
I watched the movie.
I thought the movie was hilarious.
And I watched the show, and I have to say I already forgot the movie completely because the show is hilarious. The show is very good for a comedy show.
Were werewolves not swearwolves? I mean, that's hilarious, man.
It's old humor, man.
Did they have that in the show? Do they have the werewolves?
It's even better. It actually has the dark humor and the offensiveness and all that. I think you would appreciate the show from how I know you and your sense of humor and stuff. You would totally appreciate the show, I would say. Sarah F. Energy drinks solved your depletion mystery but couldn't solve the Islamic dilemma. This is true.
Everyone, I've pointed it out before, but if you didn't catch it, remember this joke. After we put together our entire Islamic dilemma series, that's going to be the ongoing joke. Anytime someone says they've solved anything, you say, you may have solved this, but you'll never solve the Islamic dilemma. Link to the series.
You see, there's New Mexico, and then there's Alabama. Yeah, that's true. Alabama.
Alabama. That'd be fun. That'd be funny if Islam actually takes over Alabama and they change it to Alabama.
Alabama. Swain home Alabama. They hear this Albuquerque. I don't want to joke about this, man. It sounds very dark. Anyway, Anything else you want to say? Anything else you guys have to say for yourselves?
Based. Yeah, guys. So check out Thaddius's channel. You know how to support him and so on. And yeah, we hope we see a lawsuit and a GoFundMe to cover it if needed.
Hey, this would be funny if Muslims took over and in honor of Obama named it Al-Obama.
That would be extremely based.
Yeah. Thaddius also linked his channel. I also put it in the description for those who haven't seen it. In the description, you can also find Thaddius's channel, and you can even find it in the title of this live stream, which I rarely do. I put it right there, so you can find him everywhere. You can no longer make any excuses that you haven't seen the true link to Thaddius here. So there you go. If you still miss it after this point, then you basically deserve whatever comes your way. So anyway, anything else, Thaddius, that you want to say?
I definitely appreciate you having me on. I have two versions of video about what happened to me. I have one that's fairly short, that's intended for introduction to the subject. It mostly focuses on what I'm criticizing in Islam, these horrible things that I witnessed, and saying I need to speak up against this. Oh wait, I can't. What should I do about this kind of thing? Intended to take this to a broad audience, because of course people watching this are familiar that this is an issue, but the vast majority of the American population probably has no clue, right? Has no idea about any of these things in Islam. So take these, share it with your friends, share it with your family, whatever you can do to spread the word, because it's not just about preventing people from converting to Islam or getting Muslims out of Islam. It's about knowing the threat that's out there, that there is a culture that Muslims are willing to take advantage that says, if you say anything mean, you should be silenced, you should be deplatformed, you should be shut down. So take a look at that. If you're interested in all the details of exactly what went down in my workplace, I have a longer video on that subject. And I put out a new one today on how CARE is trying to bring Islamic law to America, instituting the death penalty for criticizing Islam despite it being against the Constitution. They found a loophole. They have a creative idea of how to get rid of people like me, AP, and David.
You guys got that? So that is one easy way to help Thaddius right now. Go to his channel, check out his recent videos on this topic, and share them on X and here on YouTube and everywhere else. Spread those around to anyone who's listening.
Very, very powerful. Natalie said Psalm 91 for believers is very interesting. I recently was very amazed with this psalm.
Psalm 91 is totally based. It's the most based of all basedness.
It is a beautiful psalm. Truly beautiful song. I wanted to final super chat here. I live near where Epic City would have been built. It's starting to get weird around here. There was a Muslim in my neighborhood who was honor killed a few years ago. That's pretty messed up. All right. But finally, Mosh says, is there a website already? I'm definitely going to QR code it and put it all over GTA and Samaria. Leave him alone, man. Send them to the Boom Boom Room episode instead. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. As always, have a fantastic day. And as they say, which is also translated by our professional in-house translator who speaks our language as...
Stay away from Islam.
There you go.